What is going on, y'all? It's your man Mike Titan, the Gaming Savant, here with my co-host Bryan Greer, and today we will be doing a recap of the NFL draft, majorly the first round, but mostly of the NFL draft this past weekend. A lot of good players are taken, a lot of stuff that we thought was gonna happen didn't happen, and a couple of surprising picks from a few teams in the first round. How you doing today, Bryan?
Actually, I'm a little confused, been racking my brain this weekend trying to find out who Marcus Mariota is that went to the Tennessee Titans in the second pick of the NFL draft that Roger Goodell announced. Can you help me out with that, Mike? Because these last 3 days have been tough for me.
I don't know. Maybe he's like a distant cousin of Marcus Mariota, or some sort of other quarterback, or maybe he just got the team name wrong, or something. I don't know. Things like that happen.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's the case because seems like Roger Goodell the last year has been known to be making a whole lot of mistakes.
That's true. That's quite an understatement of the video. But so the NFL draft, the time of the year, every year where teams draft their future stars or future busts are drafted, and oddly enough, the one time a year that everybody thinks the Cleveland Browns or the Cleveland Brown fans think they're actually going to be good, which never really happens. But today, in this year's draft, we had 2 quarterbacks go first overall. Jameis Winston to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Marcus Mariota to the Tennessee Titans. These 2 picks were pretty much the given. Well, Winston was the given. Mariota was a different story, but we'll talk about Winston first. Him going to the Bucs needed a quarterback. They let go of Josh McCown, who actually had a decent year for them. I personally believe they just gave up on Mike Glennon, even though he had a decent year the year before. But the Bucs it's kind of funny because in the NFC South, with the dismantling of the Saints and the Carolina Panthers only being a one-trick defensive pony, and the Atlanta Falcons just not being able to stay healthy, this division this is probably the most up for grabs division in the NFL. The Bucs drafting Jameis Winston. Everybody knows that his on-field skills is probably the best of any quarterback in this draft. Off-field antics are a little different. Some people may not agree what he does. Some people think he just needs to grow up and mature. Some people think he's just a knucklehead who's probably gonna get himself in legal trouble and not be in the league in 3 to 4 years. I'm of the opinion that even though I think he is a little too, how can I put this politely? He's a little too, let's just use the word immature, for lack of a better words, for his own good. I feel like that he will be able to mature more in the league and be a good quarterback because he has all the skills on the field. He's a very good pocket passer. He's pretty decent at reading defenses, and he's mobile enough that if he gets in trouble, he can escape the pocket. And the team that he's going to pretty much is a very good set team for him. He has 2 tall wide receivers in Mike Evans and Vincent Jackson. Doug Martin, pretty decent running back. O-line is okay. That's probably another area they needed to upgrade. And then I believe at tight end they have who was that dude named that went to Washington? Something Steffens. He's pretty much like a speed tight end. And then the defense, you still have a very stout defense. You got Mark Barron, Deshaun Golston at safeties. Still got Levante David in the middle, Gerald McCoy, Michael Johnson. They still have a very stout defense. So Adam Winston will give that team the spark that I believe they needed. And they're actually one of my front runners to win that division next year.
As far as Winston goes, like you said, he has all the tools to be a really good quarterback. He has just got to grow up off the field. Right after the draft, I don't know if you saw on Instagram, he had posted a picture with crab legs, which I'm pretty sure the Buccaneers front office and manager were happy with that. Stole crab legs, let's make fun of that. No, Winston, I think you need to kind of take it slow with the antics and jokes. So, I do love his tools, but like you said, off the field, he has to learn to just be a kind of robotic with his answers and not give too much, because that is NFL, that's what it works, You have to just be a gym rat type of person and just be relentless at working and just giving kind of, PC answers and all of that. He can't be the life of the party like he was at Florida State. And if he just keeps his head together, he will be a good quarterback because his arm and his, as far as smarts on the field and being a leader, we all know that he's very good at that. And if he does, stay healthy and just really work at his, craft, the Buccaneers really got a great draft pick.
Yeah. Like I said, I still believe that he's probably the best quarterback on field wise in the draft. The Buccaneers desperately needed a quarterback. I personally don't think they could afford to not pick a quarterback in this draft, because their other options would have been, like I said, Mike Glennon, probably somebody in the supplemental draft, or just picking up somebody at a free agency. But I feel like Winston's going to be a good fit in Tampa Bay. And oddly enough, if I believe this is correct, they have the Buccaneers and Titans as the first game, they play each other week 1. So we all know that's going to be probably primetime Monday night football, or maybe Sunday night football. It's going to be one of those primetime games of that week. It may be the Thursday kickoff game. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. But going on to the Titans pick of Marcus Mariota, the quarterback from Oregon. This pick was probably the most talked about pick leading up to this draft. People were like, is Tennessee gonna trade the pick? Are they gonna pick Mariota? Are they gonna pick Leonard Williams and pass up on Mariota? I was actually very surprised that they picked and stuck with Mariota.
Me too.
Apparently going into they probably put up like the biggest smoke screen, because they were telling everybody, it's like, oh, we're gonna go with Zach Mettenberger, he's gonna be our future. And Ken Wisenhunt didn't like mobile quarterbacks, he likes pocket passers. So I was very surprised. And bless Chip Kelly's heart, he tried so hard to get that pick away from the Titans. Apparently he was willing to trade, what was it, like 2 first-round draft picks, Fletcher Cox, a cornerback. He literally was giving up.
Yeah, everything. I think Donovan McNabb's career with the Eagles too.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe the rights to Brian Westbrook as well. But he literally was giving up like 2 or 3 first round draft picks and like three top players from his team just to draft Mariota. And
this was confirmed.
Yeah, this is confirmed by a lot of media outlet sources. I commend the Titans for not taking that just because they got the quarterback they wanted. I'm glad they didn't take it, because us being Cowboys fans, I sure as heck would not want to see Marcus Mariota 2 times a year when we already got to deal with Robert Griffin and Chip Kelly's offense. But I commend the Titans. I was very surprised. I was actually kind of bummed. I really wish they would have traded it, because it would have got some more excitement, because there was supposed to be a lot of trades in the earlier part of this draft. There were none. I think the first trade we had. I think the first trade that happened was the Broncos trading up to take Shane Ray at 23, which kind of did and kind of didn't surprise everybody. But I feel like Mariota, it honestly depends on what type of offense that the Titans want to run, because they also drafted troubled wide receiver Dorial Green-Beckham, who will be a great target for Mariota. But it depends on, are they going to start him out with the spread offense, which is what he's comfortable with, or are they going to try to conform him quickly to a pro style offense? Because Mariota, granted, I think Jameis Winston is the better quarterback now. I think Mariota has the intelligence, smart, and personality and the tools to be a better quarterback in the long run. He just has to get used to playing a pro style offense, which a lot of people were saying that Mariota would be a project quarterback. It'll probably take him maybe a year, 2, maybe 3 years to get acclimated with the pro style offense in the NFL. But I think he went to a pretty good team. I mean, the Titans, they're okay. They went 2-14, but they played a couple of teams really tough this year. It's going to be a long uphill battle for them, because you still got to deal with the Colts, who are the big dogs in the division. The Houston Texans, they're still kind of middle of the road, but they're technically the second in command. And then the Jaguars, who actually had an amazing draft and amazing offseason, who may be a sleeper team this year, adding a lot of weapons for Blake Bortles and getting Vic Fowler on defense. So that kind of, depending on how that all gels together, that may make them a contender to win the division or at least get a wild card spot. So I think it's going to be tough for the Titans with Mariota. I feel like there's going to be a lot of learning pains, a lot of growing pains. But I feel like this was a draft pick for the future, meaning that the first couple of years would be rough. But I feel like you give the Titans maybe another 2 or 3 years, get some more pieces around Mariota and get some more players on defense, that they could be a really good team.
Yeah, I agree. This is a pick where he doesn't have to be in the bright lights like in Philadelphia, where they would, basically want him to be a, championship or bust right away. He can grow, learn. If they give him the time, they'll be fine, as long as they put the pieces around him, like you said, the next 2 or 3 years, and let's let him grow into the system. I think quarterbacks and a lot of these NFL supposed gurus don't understand. It takes a long time to master the NFL system, and that's something that I think the Titans are going to give Mariota time to do.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. He is going to need some time to get acclimated. Like I said, I would be surprised what type of offense they roll out week 1 if he's even the starter. I don't know. I imagine that they did draft him to be the starter, but there may be a competition between him and Mettenberger, just depending on who's the better quarterback and who would be better fit the team. It'll be kind of like when Russell Wilson got drafted and the Seahawks gave that contract to Matt Flynn to come in to be the starter, and then Russell Wilson beat him out in training camp, and now you have your third round starter starting over the free agent that you paid big money for after that one season where he had like 2 400 passing yard games back to back, week 15 for the Packers. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Mariota and the Titans work out. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on him just to see how he progresses through this year. Like I said, they got the wide receiver Dorial Green-Beckham to give him some help on offense. Kendall Hunter is still there. Who is their tight end? I forget his name. The dude that used to play for the 49ers. Delaney Walker. That's who it is. Delaney Walker.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He had a good year last year.
Yeah, he had a pretty good year last year. So I'm probably sure Harry Mariota would be best friends, because we all know tight ends are young quarterbacks' best friends and bailout blankets. Just ask Tony Romo and Jason Witten and see how that worked out. But yeah, like I said, the Titans, this is just a work in progress. I do have faith in Ken Wisenhunt. He's molded many quarterbacks and got them to be coach. Very good quarterback coach. So I feel like under with Mariota under his wing, that he'll be good going into the future. So those are the top 2 draft picks. We could do a show to talk about all the draft picks, but we would be here for hours upon hours. So we're going to consolidate that, and we're going to go with our winners and losers of the draft. Me personally, I have 2 winners that I would say they did pretty good drafts. One, the before mentioned Titans. They got the quarterback of the future. They got Dorial Green-Beckham, who, if his off-field issues,
if he just stays, my goodness, his talent base is the best of almost any player. If you've ever seen him play, almost the best talent in the whole draft. I know that's crazy to say to some people, but if you've seen him play, he is a beast.
Yeah, very much so. People were comparing him to Calvin Johnson upcoming.
Yes, and that's a comparison, because I mean, he does play just like him, honestly. Randy Moss. I know that's crazy to say, but I mean, this guy, when he is healthy and has his mind right, oh my goodness.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my first winner. My second winner, and the reason I'm considering them a winner isn't necessarily because of who they drafted. It's because of what they didn't draft, and that is the Cleveland Browns. Now, I know I took a little shot at them at the beginning of the video, but, everybody loves taking shots at Cleveland. Yeah, it gets the ratings up.
Shout out to Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, we'll see how many money sign dances he'll be doing this season.
Hold that clipboard tight this year.
But reason I picked the Cleveland Browns is because they drafted for needs and not a quarterback. Again, they got Danny Shelton, defensive tackle, in the first round. Now, this one kind of, I was kind of, had my question marks over my head. They drafted Cameron Irving, a center, in the second round. They already have Alex Mack at center, so I'd imagine they just drafted best available, and they'll probably move Irving around to guard or tackle or something like that. But I can never fault a team that needs offensive help drafting the offensive lineman in the first couple of rounds. And then, kind of hurt me because I wish he would have come into the Cowboys, but they took Duke Johnson in the 3rd round. Now, I challenge anybody watching this video that is not a Cleveland Browns fan to name me 2 running backs on their roster from this past season. I don't know either. I know they have, I think Trey West, something like that. Other than that, I couldn't name you whose Cleveland running back was since Trent Richardson left, or I think since Willis McGahee got injured. But wow. Duke Johnson, like I said, he's a home run hitter from Miami, very fast. Like I said, I wish he would have went to the Cowboys, but Cleveland actually has a pretty good offensive line. So I feel like they do. Yeah, so I feel like that they're probably gonna start mainly focus on running the ball and just having a very good defense, because they still have a very good defense. As far as my losers go, I only have one. Reason that I say that this team is a loser in the draft is because, one, they didn't have a 1st round draft pick because of the draft pick they drafted the prior year, and 2 is because they did not pick a quarterback. And the team I'm talking about is the Buffalo Bills. Now, yes, they did trade for Shady McCoy, one of the top running backs in the league. That's cool. I'm cool with that. What I'm not cool with is that you believing that E.J. Manuel is going to be your quarterback of the future, because he's not. Yeah. I know they signed somebody in the offseason. I can't exactly remember who it is, but I don't think it was anybody that was good enough to warrant them to be starting. They got Sammy Watkins last year, but they traded the 1st round pick for this year, so that's why they didn't have a 1st round pick. And then they also, with their 1st pick in the 2nd round, drafted a cornerback. But they're already kind of loaded at cornerback. You have Stephen Gilmore, Leonis McKelvin. I forget their slot corner's name, but they're pretty much like 3 deep at cornerback. So it didn't really make any sense to me to why they would draft a cornerback. But like I said, Rex Ryan, that's the new head coach over there, so it doesn't surprise me that he would go defense in the 1st round. I'm probably sure. Be allergic to offense. Yeah, in relation to offense. So I'm probably sure that he's just gonna do what he did in New York and just build a great defense, have a solid running game, and just hope that your quarterback can just won't lose you the game. So those are my winners and losers.
Complete a forward pass, maybe.
Yeah, maybe be able to complete a forward pass. Maybe go 1 for 10 with 5-yard gains or something like that. But who do you have for winners and losers of the draft?
The team that I first want to talk about as far as winners is actually the New York Jets. Them getting Leonard Williams, even though they already have a very good defensive line, they really are now built with Todd Bowles, a new quarterback, to just go out and just dominate some games defensively, because they are just loaded. And also with them drafting Bryce Petty, giving Geno Smith some kind of competition. I know he put up ridiculous numbers, as we know, being in Texas at Baylor, just really took that offense and was really, dynamic. And he said that he's going to make the other 31 teams that take him, pay for not taking him. So, he's going to be highly motivated. And, I just really was just impressed by overall with the Jets and what they did, because Bryce Petty did drop actually behind Grayson, who went to the Saints. And I was very shocked by that, the kid from Colorado State. And I was just very impressed with, Todd Bowles and what they did, taking the best player available, like I said, Leonard Williams, who arguably might be the best player in the draft. And the second time I'm going to say, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but that's right, you're Dallas Cowboys. But I've had a lot of drafts watching Dallas Cowboys. It's either pass, drop back, give up their whole draft for one player, or whatever the case may be. But when they got Byron Jones in the first half, I was ecstatic. Could play corner or safety. I don't know when the last time the Cowboys actually had a safety they could play, which was probably Darren Woodson, who actually announced the pick for the Cowboys. He is a world-class broad jumper, actually has the world record in that. Could just really hit. He just was a team captain at UConn, could do it all on the field, as far as from the quarterback position. And them in the second round getting Randy Gregory, which I'm ecstatic about, as long as he can stay away from the dope. Just keep him away from any kind of, facilities like that, or any kind of corners. Because if you can do that, I think that he'll be just fine. Because, you saw him in Nebraska. He could rush the quarterback. He is a speed rusher. And if you put him all over the defensive line, and we know Rod Marinelli, how much he did last year, a miracle worker, I think that could be a huge pick for the Cowboys. And then in the third round, them getting Chaz Green, who, once I thought about it, getting another offensive lineman to replace Parnell, who went to the Jaguars, that was smart, because we know that the offensive line are very important. And he was, very good at Florida, because we know that they had a great running game in Florida, because God knows they had no quarterback. That was a really good pick. So, yeah, I can't believe I'm saying that with the Cowboys being, a winner in the draft, because we know that most times that's going to become a loss. As far as the losers, I have, I'm going to have to go with the Saints. I just don't understand them not trying to go out and replace some of the pieces on offense that they've had in the past, losing, Jeremy Graham and so I know they did, get some offensive line help, but they have to have some weapons. They know that Marquise Colts is out for some of the year, all of those things. I just didn't like what they did on defense. I know they did get Grace to what they replaced, Drew Brees, but them not taking Bryce Petty, who is really fit for that offense. I just didn't understand it, because he is a spread kind of offense, kind of like the Saints run. But once again, the Saints just do what they usually do in the draft, not really going to get key playmakers. Like you said, Jonathan Vilma retired, Lofton is no longer there. I think they're really going to take a step back this year, even further than they did last year, because they know that Rob Ryan and them are god-awful on defense, and I expect about the same this year after what they did in the draft. And no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, man.
And another team that I would have to say I was disappointed with is the Miami Dolphins. Reason I would say the Miami Dolphins is they had Todd Gurley right there. I did not understand how you do not draft Todd Gurley when you already have Mike Wallace, you already have Brian Hartline, you have receivers. All you need is a solid running back. Now, I think they did take Jay Ajayi later in the draft, but he has a knee issue. But Todd Gurley is a home run hitter, and that team is ready to go with all of their defense. With now they got Ndamukong Suh, going on Cameron Wake. I didn't understand why they did not get Todd Gurley, because that team would be a force to reckon with. I felt like if they had gone and got Todd Gurley. But yeah, that right there, that move alone to me is just makes them a loser, because if you had a top-notch running back to that team, just think about it. Ryan Tannehill is a good quarterback. I don't know why people knock him so much. But he has a lot of pressure on him with not having a solid running back. So yeah, once again, the Miami Dolphins seem to always not know what a running back is.
Okay, well put. Actually, I think the Dolphins traded Mike Wallace to the Vikings, but I do agree with your point. Yeah, I think they traded him for like a 5th round pick, but I think they got Kenny Stills from the Saints.
Jennings, right?
Yeah, they got Jennings.
They got Kenny Stills? Okay.
I think they got Kenny Stills. I think they got Kenny Stills from the Saints, but I do agree that
Greg Jennings, I know they have.
Yeah, so they're already kind of a little bit deep. Well, they lost Hartline too, so I can kind of see.
Oh,
maybe
they
just
wow.
best
Well,
available.
I guess
So, yeah.
brush up on Miami Dolphins roster.
No, that's fine. I don't pay attention to them either. But
oh, okay, yeah, all right. Well, I don't feel too bad. I guess I misplaced my roster depth chart.
Yeah. Okay, so that was our winners and losers of the draft. Now, surprise picks. By surprise picks, I mean picks that we went WTF at. Not necessarily in a bad way, but just thinking like, what was their thinking when they did that pick? Me personally, my first one was the Rams drafting Todd Gurley at number 10. Now, don't get me wrong, Todd Gurley, I want to see Todd Gurley be successful in the NFL. But the Rams drafting
Jeff Fisher might kill it though.
Yeah, exactly. But the Rams,
we know Jeff Fisher.
the Rams drafting him at 10 when they already have Trey Mason and Zach Stacy. I was like, well, you got Zach Stacy, who had a good year the year prior, and then you already got Trey Mason, who had an amazing year last year, and now you're getting Todd Gurley. I just don't understand that. I do understand it now because since they have drafted him, they traded Zach Stacy to the Jets for a 7th round pick, which I think is a steal for the Jets. With that offensive line and Zach Stacy being the power runner he is, I feel like that's going to be a great fit for him. And Zach Stacy even knew it after they drafted Gurley. He tweeted, "Yikes!"
It didn't take long.
it didn't take long. So he was like, "All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and sell my condo here in St. Louis or something like that, and go look for some
let me go see what Southwest Airlines look like their flights are looking like."
Exactly, but that's what I said. That was my surprise pick at the time. Since the draft has been over with, I've kind of thought about it, and I was like, okay, it makes kind of sense. You want to get your cornerstone. To me, this was like when the Vikings drafted Adrian Peterson, their rock, their foundation for their offense on that team. My next pick, and this one's a real head scratcher to me because I honestly don't feel like they needed to draft him. I feel like they needed to draft on the other side of the ball, was the Indianapolis Colts selecting Philip Dorsett, the wide receiver. Dorsett is pretty much just pure speed. A lot of people like to compare him to Darius Hayward-Bay that the Raiders drafted a couple of years ago. Just, pure speed and nothing else really.
Not a good comparison.
Yeah. I understand you want to get weapons for not Andre Johnson, Andrew Luck. But at where was he taken? 29. Okay, that's pretty late in the first round. I got T.Y. Hilton. Yeah, like they got T.Y. Hilton, Andre Johnson. I believe they still have Hakeem Nicks, Kobe Fleener. It's like there's more than enough receivers for Andrew Luck to pass the ball to. And also they got Sidney Moncrief, the wide receiver they drafted last year in the first round. Oh. So it's like you literally like 4 or 5 deep.
A lot of waving towels over there looks like for receivers.
Exactly. So I don't understand. I mean, maybe a kick returner, but why would you pick a kick returner in the first round if that's what you got him for? Yeah, this pick I literally don't understand because they could have easily went defensive end. They need help at linebacker, safety. They need somebody to help complement Vontae Davis over there on the other side. Like they could have literally just went. They should have went defensive line. They should have got another defensive end, a pass rusher, because that's what they desperately needed. As you could tell last year when they got beat by the Patriots. So this one was just a straight head scratcher for me. I don't understand what Irsay or the coaching staff was looking at over there, but he wasn't the best player available at that position. I don't think he was. He wasn't the best player available at 29. So that was one for me. The next one is only a head scratcher because they're already so loaded at that position, is the Jets taking Leonard Williams at number 6. I understand the pick. You want to get best available, but you already got Muhammad Wilkerson, Shelton. They have another D end. Like they're already stacked at the D line. So picking Williams.
Leonard Williams is an instant starter.
Yeah, he's a star. Like he's ready to go. Like draft him, throw him on the field. To me, he's like the Mario Williams of this draft. He's like the draft pick you cannot go wrong with, regardless of where you pick him. The only thing I can think of that maybe makes sense for this pick is if the Jets switch from a 3-4 to a 4-3. And maybe put him at one of the ends and move Shelton or Wilkerson to the inside tackle, because I believe Wilkerson is one of them is like around 300 pounds, so they can play defensive tackle. So that's the only thing I can think of, is that if the Jets with Rex Ryan leaving, switching their defense to a 4-3 or to a defense where they have 4 down linemen, so you can have Leonardson, Wilkerson, and Shelton on the field at the same time. That's the only reason I could think of them making this pick, because they could have desperately went elsewhere. They could have went, quarterback. They could have went receiver. They could have went linebacker, safety. They could have went anywhere else. But like I said, it's one of those picks. At the time, I was like, why did you pick him? And then, like I said, depends on just how their defense is going to be for this upcoming season. Now, my last surprise pick, which the only reason I was surprised is because of the effort they tried to make to get to number 2 to get Mariota, was the Eagles drafting wide receiver Nelson Aguilar in the first round at number 20. Now, it made sense from a team standpoint. Like, I'm not surprised that Chip Kelly took a wide receiver in the first round, because that's Chip Kelly. He's like, he just goes for speed, up tempo players, stuff like that. I understand that. I'm just understanding from a need perspective. It's like, you pretty much gutted your defense and you go receiver, which you still have Riley
Jordan
Cooper,
Matthews.
Yeah, Matthews, Ertz. Like, you still got people that can catch the ball. You still have Darren Sproles coming out the backfield. So it's like, you didn't necessarily need to go receiver, but I understand because Chip Kelly wants people who can just run up and down the field. So I understand the pick from the coach that picked it. I just don't understand the pick from a need perspective when you have so many glaring holes on defense that you need to fill. But what were your surprise picks of the draft?
Yeah, I want to kind of piggyback off that point about the Eagles getting a Nelson Aguilar. That was one I wanted to talk about. That just would befuddle me, because that team needs defensive stoppers. They have nobody now outside of now getting Kiko Alonso on defense. That's a really game changer. I know they still have Fletcher Cox, but
yeah, and I think they got a Maxwell
he gets double teamed. Yeah.
From the Seahawks.
Yeah, they did get Maxwell.
But I think he's more of a product of the system than an actual good player.
Yes, he's a product of Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor, I believe, in that system with the Seahawks. Like, he can kind of hide in the back in there. But yeah, that one just did not make sense to me. But like you say, Chip Kelly, he has the whole control of that team now, and he loves Pac-10 players. I heard something that the majority of his picks in the last 2 years have just been nothing but Pac-10 players. And,
really?
It just was a head scratcher. It just doesn't seem to be that he gets a concept and a grasp of how much you need defensive playmakers. And that was just something that I was really, like you said, scratching my head about. I want to talk about the Chicago Bears. I know they got Kevin White, who is a really good wide receiver, but they already have Martellus Bennett. They already have
Alshon Jeffrey.
Alshon Jeffrey. They have Matt Forte coming out of the backfield. They already have playmakers there. You need to get that offensive line going, and there were plenty of offensive line going in the first round that were very good, prospects, and they again go get another, wideout. If Jay Cutler can't stand up and get the ball to Kevin White, that's no good to draft Kevin White, And that is just another one of those picks where I felt like, because the draft was in Chicago, the Bears went and got the wow pick instead of getting the need, like you talked about. I understand that you want to get the best player available, but if you're a Bears fan, I don't see why you would not want them to go get an offensive lineman or go get somebody on the defensive line, because, as you know, Jay Cutler cannot stand up in that pocket. It is just one after another of him just having his face down on the turf.
Yeah, exactly. The Bears' offensive line was just atrocious last year. Jay Cutler was just like the people think the reason that like quarterbacks have bad years is because they suck and stuff like that. That may be true, but it's also a test to how much time you have in the pocket. Like,
you have to have time in the pocket,
exactly,
to redo your progressions.
All those past years when Romo would go 8-8, and when people be like, "Oh, well, he's not clutch, and he can't win the big game. Like, he's gonna throw an interception." It's like you do realize he had like 3 people in his face when he was throwing the ball. Like 2 or 3 years ago when they were playing the Washington Redskins, Week 17. The play-in game.
Oh, we watched that together.
Yeah, we watched that. Me and Brian watched it together. It's like people are like, "Oh, Romo sucks. Get him out the game." It's like, you do realize every time the ball's being snapped, he has 3 people in his face, right? Like that O-line back then, before we got the O-line we got now, was just horrible. Like the D-line, the blitzing, like you literally saw 4 red jerseys in the backfield every time Romo threw the ball, and he was either being picked up by somebody or just being smashed in the ground or just running for his life. Like, I remember there was a possession where literally all 3 downs, as soon as he hiked the ball, somebody was in his face the whole time. So I understand y'all saying that Cutler may not be the quarterback, but if you like it's point taken. Last year, Colt McCoy played the Cowboys. Colt McCoy had so much time in the pocket. If you even give a quarterback like Colt McCoy
I thought he could
time
just
in
go
the
ahead
pocket.
and just build a car back there. He had so much time.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was back there building snowmen and, you know, checking his email and stuff like that. Like if you give a quarterback 6, 7, 8, 10 seconds in the pocket, somebody's going to be open. I don't care how good your man defense is. I don't care how good your zone
Only
defense
can cover
is.
so long.
If you don't get no pressure on the quarterback and you just let him just survey the field, even a bad quarterback is going to be able to pass through those open lanes and find somebody open. So I do agree with you that I think the Bears should have went offensive line. That was a glaring need that they needed to address this year in the draft.
Yeah, but like I say, the Bears, they normally do that. Go get the wow players, and I'll go not get players that are in the trenches. Because if you're a fan of the Patriots or a fan of the Seahawks, you know that the reason they get to the Super Bowl is because they have guys in the trenches that on both lines. That's what wins. You need a great quarterback, but you have to control the offensive and defensive line of scrimmage.
Yeah, totally agree. Did you have any more surprise picks, or was that the only ones?
Yeah, that after that one, I think I'm all out because the Bears after that, I just couldn't believe it. But the Bears normally do that.
Okay, well put. Well, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for today's show. You got any closing statements before we get out of here, Bryan?
Yeah, I just want to, people let us know in the comment section who they thought were the winners and losers in the draft. See if they, who Marcus Mariota is. This up and coming quarterback that seems only Roger Goodell knows. I want to, got anything about that? Who were your teams that you thought looked good, looked bad? So let's hear from the people out there.
Okay, well put. I hope we find them too. I want to thank everybody for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, leave some comments below. If you're a Bears fan, do you think Kevin White was a good pick? If you're a Cowboys fan, and we know you're watching, do you think that the Cowboys had a good draft? That's pretty much going to do it for us. I'm Mike Gort. That is Bryan Greer, and we will catch you guys next time. Peace.